Welcome back, y'all. Happy Wednesday. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. Today, we're going to be talking about Tennessee's deep passing game because as much film as I watch and some other people watch, we all know exactly what the issue is with this team. It's with the deep passing game. I'm talking about pass plays of 20 yards or more. The running game has been outstanding. The defense has been great. And if it wasn't for those two things being as strong as they are, Tennessee wouldn't be still on pace to go 10-2. So I think that Tennessee can be a very complete team if we can get that fixed. The thing about it is with Josh Heupel, we've never seen the deep passing game be as stagnant as it is this season. Actually, it might be better this year, maybe statistically speaking, than it was last season. But I think y'all understand what I'm saying here, right? We've got to find a way to get that fixed. So we will look over the course of this season, not every single game, but all the major ones, right? Like all the big games. And we'll look at Tennessee's passing game. I'll tell you, how many pass plays do we throw deep and, how many plays do we hit on that we threw deep versus, some better competition. And we will draw the correlation between 11 personnel, which is just one tight end with 3 wide receivers, to the 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers. And we'll find out which one looks the easiest for us to operate and which one is the most consistent. But please do us a very big favor. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. All right, we're starting off with NC State, where Tennessee went 2 of 6 on passes of 20 yards or more. And on this play, we do have 11 personnel. So what I love about 11 is that whenever you spread it out, especially in quads, you can see very easily whenever it's man-to-man coverage, you've got a safety playing really deep, which means that inside of the box, they're probably going to be blitzing, right? So that's a very strong indicator for the guys up front to know who to pick up. So on this play, we're just going to run a dig right here, okay? And then we're going to run a slot fade behind it. It's kind of a rub route, but this is beautiful because on plays like this, whenever we know who to pick up, okay, we know where the play's supposed to be going. It's easy, right? It's not a difficult route combination. You just throw it up for grabs. You see the squirrel's got plenty of room to operate, right? He's got his man beat by about, 5 or 6 yards. So very easy pitch and catch. The one thing that I will say about this, though, is this is earlier in the season. Now, Nico, as he gets further into the season, he's going to understand how to look the safeties off, things like that. But really, the ball placement has to be better. If he throws it more to the inside and gives Squirrel a chance to really run up under this, then he's still running, right? Like this is 6 points all day long. Next play, we have 11 personnel again, and we're seeing man-to-man coverage up top. But over here, this looks like it's probably not man because this player is kind of splitting the difference right here. So it's going to be some sort of a zone. So on this play, what Tennessee does is just an out and up, right? So out and up's coming, and it's going to be a much smaller window because we have to throw it to the outside, things like that. Now, could this have been completed? Yes, it could have. Now, it's thrown a little bit to the outside. That's a very, very difficult play because you see how tight that window is. You would love to see a guy like Brew make a play right here. But again, he catches it, but he's just out of bounds. Now, let's look at the difference with the 12 personnel, especially whenever Tennessee has these tight ends bunched up inside of the box. Look at all the people inside of the box for NC State. We have one-on-one on the outside. That's very obvious. One-on-one on the outside. Okay, and then we've got one safety that's just going to be playing in the middle of the field. So all Tennessee does here is going to run 2 goals, right, on the outside. This is what I love because it's a lot more simple. Okay, you can pick the blitzes up very easily. Throw it up for grabs. You see, wide open, right? He is wide open right here. This is another one. That should have been 6 points all day long. And it's actually thrown in a good spot. Now, that's a play that for sure Bruce should have caught. Next play, we have 12 personnel again. Look at the box for NC State. It is loaded up because teams know that we can run it down their throats. So we've got one-on-one on the outside. All we're going to do right here with our 2 6'5" wide receivers is just run a fade ball right here, okay, in one-on-one coverage to Dante Thornton, okay? Play action, right? Boom. It's quick. It's easy. Just get it out of your hands. Now, this play right here absolutely has got to be made. Could the ball have been put in a different spot? Maybe, but you expect for your guys to make these plays. The one thing that I will say, too, about Nico, in situations like this, 6'5" man versus, at most maybe 6'2", maybe 6'3" sometimes, but 6'5" is going to win that every single time. Just throw it up high and let your guy go make a play. I'm not too mad at the ball placement, though, because, it's thrown in a good empty spot. We got to make those types of plays moving forward. Next play, we have 12 personnel. The 2 tight ends are right here, but the field is spread out. So this is something else that I love about the 12 personnel is you can spread the field out and pretty much operate it just like 11 if you want to. So it would work well with tempo and things like that. So anyway, on this play, NC State is going to be dropping 8. So it's going to be pretty much covered up everywhere. Nico's going to be looking over here first. And again, it's going to be covered up. So this is earlier in the season. We all know that Nico got a lot better with this type of stuff. He does look it off initially, but then he comes back. And I think, this guy right here was open, but Nico's just going to kind of, move on up out of the pocket, even though he probably could have sat in there a little bit longer. But pay attention right here to Miles Kitselman. He does a great job as a playmaker, getting down the field on this scramble drill And this is beautiful, right? Like this isn't necessarily like a 12 personnel thing. This is any personnel, but you need people to come out and make plays for you. So on this play, it was called back. Great blocking down the field too by Brew McCoy. This one was called back, but you love the playmakers making plays. That's something else that Tennessee is really missing this season. But obviously, man, with that 12 personnel, Tennessee has a lot more versatility to get the looks that we want. Let's go on to the next game. Next game is Oklahoma, where Tennessee went 3 for 5 on pass plays of 20 yards or more. This will be 11 personnel to start things off. So we all know that Oklahoma like to show a lot of deep coverage. They had a lot of people that just sat back deep to try to take away Tennessee's deep passing game. So within this 11 personnel, what I love here is that we dictated the one-on-one coverage because we have 3 people down at the bottom of the screen. So now we're going to have one-on-one up top. We're going to run this post. It's going to be wide open. So it also makes it easy, like we talked about, to declare what's going on inside of this box. Okay, are the blitzes coming? How many people do I have to pick up? Where's it coming from? Things like that. So on this motion out, we'll see this guy comes out too. So everyone inside of the box knows, okay, look, there's only 5 people that are going to be coming on this play. So we'll go ahead and let this thing roll. So boom, play action, get people to bite up just a taste, just long enough so that we have wide open, passing lane to Dante Thornton, who has great speed, does a good job of making a play on that one. All right, so next play, we have 11 personnel again. And what did we talk about earlier? Whenever we have 11 personnel and the field is spread out, we see very obvious one-on-one coverage. We've got people all inside the box still. We know that a blitz is coming, so that helps us to identify who to pick up. Now, what Tennessee does on this is we're just going to, run a straight fade right here. All right, and it's going to be tough because Nico doesn't do a good job with this safety that's playing high. He doesn't do a good job of, pausing him or, making him pause for just a second by looking over this way and then coming back to where he wanted to go. So again, this is early in the season. The blitz has picked up pretty well. We've got time to operate, but because we didn't hold that safety quite enough, this window is pretty tight, right? I mean, it's pretty tight. Probably could have been completed, but it wasn't. So the whole point there, just like I keep on touching on, things can work out of this 11 personnel, but there's just so many more moving pieces to it. It's so much more. It's so much more that has to go right for the plays to be completed down the field. All right, now let's look at the 12 personnel. Tennessee has it bunched up. Y'all know that's the way that I like it because we get the one-on-ones on the outside and it's much easier for us to operate. Everybody's inside of the box right here for Oklahoma. So on this play, what's going to happen is a hitch, and the hitch is going to be covered up, right? Because they do a good job of, just kind of coming up and, playing this tight. But what happens here is Nico scrambles out. We talked about that scramble drill, but here, boom, okay, now that he's scrambling, you get on up the field and there's no one behind it to stop it. So this is something else that I love is because, man, look, whenever we're running this with the easy one-on-ones, look at this, boom. I mean, wide open, right? Wide open. Nobody's up here. So all Nico really has to do here is just throw it up nice and soft. Good job also by Dante making a catch, making a play, getting up the field. I don't remember if this play stood or not, but I think y'all see the point here that whenever we get those obvious one-on-one matchups on the outside, dude, it is so much easier to throw the football down the field because you're getting one-on-one coverage. Even if the play breaks down initially, even if it's not there to start off, you can still make things happen. Next play, 12 personnel again. It's bunched up. It's one-on-one on the outside, okay? We're just going to run a stop and go. So that's something else that I love because within those one-on-one matchups, man, a lot of different things that you can do, right? Double moves are in play. Look at all this separation. This should be 6 all day long. So Nico, again, he's got to understand that whenever he's in that 12 personnel, you don't have to throw the ball high or, high and outside like you normally would. Throw it more to the inside because there is nobody back here. Just throw it up nice and soft to the middle and let your playmaker make a play with more field. Now, he does make the catch, but we need 6 out of these, okay? Anytime that you have someone beat by this many yards, right? Like you got them beat by 3, 4, 5 yards. That should be 6 points all day long. Next game is versus Arkansas, where Tennessee went 1 for 5 on pass plays of 20 yards or more. So the first play, really all the plays that we'll be looking at will be 11 personnel because we did not throw the football down the field in that 12 in this game. But on this play, what we're going to have is a fake screen, okay? And then we're just going to go right here, okay? So also, let me point out the fact that backside, we're wide open. Something I have noticed with Tennessee's offense is it's open backside a lot. So play action, right? You got a pump fake and all that type of stuff. Nico has to throw this off his back foot. Now, is it there? Sure it is. Okay, you throw this thing up for grabs, throw it nice and soft. Let your playmaker make a play. But because, we don't do a good job as a wide receiver of getting back to the inside here, okay, this pass is not going to be caught. I think that it was thrown in a very good spot. We've got to go make those catches for our quarterbacks. Next play, like I said, still in 11 personnel, and we're seeing that we've got the field spread out pretty good. We're seeing the one-on-one coverage. What's that tell us inside of the box? That there is a blitz coming. Okay, there is a blitz coming, and we're probably going to have some sort of a, like like one high or two high, whatever sort of a look. But on this play, what Tennessee does is a hitch right here. Okay, and then we're going to run a slot fade. So I love this again because we can identify what's going on with the defense, and we can just pretty much three-step drop, throw it up. We've got a guy that's wide open. We got plenty of playmakers, but the pass is just overthrown. So like we keep on touching on with this 11 personnel, things can be there. Okay, it does make it easier to identify what the defense is doing, but inside of that 12, you don't even need to do all that. Like, it takes out so many moving pieces whenever you're just running 12. But things are still there. We just have to start to operate a lot better down the field, whether that's with the throw or with the catch. All right, last play that we'll be looking at for Arkansas. This is a 3rd and 2, just to let y'all know it is still 11 personnel, like we talked about. We're going to be running those double digs that y'all know I really don't like. Okay, so the double digs. And on this play, man, Arkansas is just going to be running coverage. They're only bringing 3. It's not that, well, actually, this guy, he was open. Again, earlier in the season, Nico was missing people. So I'm not too mad at, this play call and things like that because this was open. Nico just missed it. But since he does miss it, he has to scramble out. Okay. And now we've got Dante Thornton, who's going to do a good job of scramble drill with his quarterback. Let's get open. Let's flow to the same side that he's flowing to. That's a 50-yard flick of the wrist from Nico. It's very accurate. The one thing that I can say about it is that, if he throws it a little bit more to the outside, and this is asking a ton, but if he throws this a little bit softer and a little bit more this way, this could have ended up being 6. Now, we all know that this did come in the 4th quarter, right? So we didn't have a whole lot of time left to operate. There's only 47 seconds left in this game, but that's a really big time play by Dante and really even by Nico, right? So actually, I'm not even too mad that he missed that first dig because we had to really make something happen, and this actually probably helped Tennessee out some. But we all know that we went on to lose this game. So if we could have ran some more 12 personnel trying to throw the football down the field, I think that we would have had a little bit more success. Next game is versus Florida, where Tennessee went 1 for 5 on passing plays of 20 yards or more. This is another game where we did not throw the football down the field in 12 personnel. So on this first play, what we're going to have is a sprint out right here from Nico, okay? And then we're just going to have, I don't even know what you call this route, but come to the inside real strong and then go straight up the middle from Squirrel White. And it is going to be open, right? So really good job. Like we kind of talked about, we could tell what was going on up front based off of how they lined up. And that's there, right? I mean, that is there, but yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to it. There's a lot of things to kind of have to go right. Okay. A lot of things that have to go right on this play. But I do like this play design because we also talked about earlier how, the backside stuff seems to be open for Tennessee down the field. So we tried to hit that several times in this game and we did not connect on this one. Next play, we have things spread out in quads, and we're seeing that it's man-to-man coverage yet again. So what's that tell us? We got the people coming on the inside. Now, maybe they might try to back off every now and then, but at least you understand that, hey, they could be coming. So on this play, we just run a slot fade, right? Okay, because that's there like 99% of the time. That's almost impossible to stop. And look at how much separation there is. The ball is just drastically overthrown. Next play is still 11 personnel. Everything is bunched up tight, which I absolutely love switching things up like that. This is the only pass play of 20 or more yards that Tennessee completed on Florida. And what we're going to do is a deep crosser. Okay. Like we talked about, in that whole Florida week, those deep crosses are there. So Nico's going to sprint out here and he's going to do a good job of finding Chris Brazzell. Okay. This is really nice with the levels concepts and things like that. But at this point, boom, you see that Brazzell is coming open. Brew looks like he is kind of starting to come open, but Nico did the right thing here, throwing it to Brazzell. This is a really good catch by him, too, because the ball's kind of high, but that was very well executed by our offense. Next play, we're going to have a switch route, and we're going to throw it backside like we talked about. Okay, so kind of coming here, and then going to work on a post, and then he's just going to be coming on across about in that area. So we'll go ahead and let this thing roll, right? Because this is, I think this is a very well-placed football. But again, man, wide receivers have got to make plays because we are scheming things up, right? Like we are getting people open. We understand where the openings are. We've talked about it throughout this entire video. The backside stuff within 11 personnel deep tends to be open, right? But we've got to be able to make plays on the football. And yeah, maybe a flag could have been thrown there as well. All right, last play from the Florida game. Of course, this is still 11 personnel. We're just going to throw it up deep to Chris Brazzell. The reason that I put this play in here is because I want for y'all to see Nico's ball placement here to a 6'5" wide receiver. Number one, he's open. Number two, the ball is thrown up high. Now, this probably should have been pass interference, but it wasn't called. And also, you need for your guys to make plays. I mean, stay in bounds, but that is excellent ball placement by Nico. We need to do a whole lot more of this in all the personnel groupings because we've got guys that are just so big and tall. You're not stopping that, right? Like you're not going to stop, 6'5" with a super high vertical and really long arms as a cornerback. There's not, I don't think very many, if any, 6'5" cornerbacks playing on any level. There might be some guys that are 6'3", 6'4", but I would love to see more of these jump ball situations moving forward. Next game is versus Alabama, where Tennessee went 2 of 8 on passes of 20 yards or more. That's actually the most deep passes that Tennessee threw in a game this entire season. So on this play, like we talked about, man, 11 personnel, we've got it spread out in quads. So we don't see that man-to-man look like we had been getting. We're seeing a zone. That's perfectly fine because we still can get the one-on-one matchup. We're going to go to Chris Brazzell right here. I believe that's going to be Brazzell on the outside, right? So I love this because Nico's got the time. He's got all day. They're going to be dropping 8. They only bring 3. And he's wide open, right? And like that should have been 6 all day long. It's just overthrown. Next play, we still have 11 personnel, but we do have the tight end right here. So the box is kind of bunched up. That's a good thing because what it gives us on the outside is the one-on-one coverage, right? And this is going to be going on a skinny post to Squirrel White, okay? And he's going to be wide open, right? So play action right here, boom. People are pausing. We got the wide open look that we want. I mean, that should be all daggum day long, but it's just overthrown yet again. Next play, we're still sticking to that 11 personnel. So looks like we've got the one-on-one stuff on the outside. We do know that this safety right here, he wants to try to get over the top. So Nico actually does a pretty good job coming off of this play action of, pausing and looking over here for just a split second. But also, I think the safety does a really nice job of fighting on over the top and making this a tighter window than it maybe could have been. So this is just a straight up sprint down the field by Squirrel White. And the ball is just placed in an excellent, excellent spot. It hits Squirrel pretty much like right in the face. We all know the Squirrel has a problem with falling down and diving and stuff, trying to make catches. He does not need to do that, especially in this game, knowing that he had that AC joint deal going on with his shoulder. But that right there is what can happen, right? I mean, we have to hit on this stuff. People have got to make plays. We got to play the healthy people. And Nico was very accurate on this pass. We just have to be able to come down with it. All right, y'all. Last play for the 11 personnel. As y'all can see, we've got the field spread out in the quads. We've got the one-on-one matchups that we love to see. And, we can operate out of this with a what? Slot fade. It is there. And this is very well thrown. It's a good job by everybody picking things up front because we knew that the blitz was going to come. It came a little bit late. Perfectly thrown football. Very similar to what we saw Nico throw to Dante earlier in this film where it just wasn't caught. Here, do a good job of making a catch and all that good stuff. That's what we need to see is proper execution. It doesn't matter the personnel grouping if the execution is on point. All right, now let's take a look at the 12 personnel. And this is 12 personnel. It's just spread out, right? So got a tight end here and we got a tight end here. All right, so on this play, Tennessee gets very obvious man-to-man coverage with nobody over the top. So what we're going to do, understanding that this is zero, right? That blitzes will be coming. We're going to sprint Nico out because we've got things empty, and we're just going to throw it up for grabs to a 6'5" wide receiver that should always be able to come down with these types of plays, right? So I love to see this again, man, out of that 12 personnel. And even if they drop it off inside of the box, again, that doesn't really matter. It's about taking advantage of the look that they're giving you with zero coverage. That means that there are 0 people playing behind the folks that are playing man. Okay, there is 0 people playing deep. So beautifully executed. Of course, we would like to get into the end zone right there, but you'll take what you can get at this point. Excellent, excellent job. Next play, still in that 12 personnel. Pay attention, right? One-on-one on the outside, just going to run a fade. It's there. There's nobody behind it, and we don't have to worry too much about what's going on up front because we have plenty of people up there to block it. Nico doesn't have to sprint out or roll out or nothing. Just throw it up, right? And come down with the catch because that was actually a very well-placed football. Again, I would love to see Nico start to, whenever we get into this bunched up 12 personnel, throw it more to the middle because you can hold this safety off. Just look the safety off one side and throw it up to the other side more in the middle. Let your guys run up under it and make a play. We should start to score 6 points on these. Next game is versus Kentucky, where Tennessee went 0 of 2 on passes of 20 yards or more. We're going to have one 11 personnel and then 12 personnel. So on this one, what I love is because we're bunching things up, we are still going to get that one-on-one on the outside and pretty much work this how that 12 personnel has looked whenever things are bunched up. Just, play action, boom, look things off, throw it up, right? So Nico does a much better job at this point in the season of really staring things down, and it hits a guy right in the face. Come on, Brazel, you got to make that catch. But let me come back so I can show you what Nico's doing here. This is excellent operation by the quarterback because we know that this safety is going to come down and essentially be playing in the box because we know that that's what Kentucky's going to do, right? So this is the guy that's going to be playing over the top. And Nico's going to stare this thing down over here long enough to really make him come on over here and just make it a lot easier on this window down the field, right? So beautiful job. Boom, throws it up. And it's a perfectly thrown football. It's just not caught. All right, now we're back in the 12 personnel. You see it's bunched up. We know it's one-on-one on the outside. What do y'all think is coming? It's going to be a fade. Everyone knows that that's coming. No one can stop it. It doesn't matter. It's a lot easier to operate with this. Like we talked about, everything's picked up well. And Nico actually throws this one short, which is good. That's pass interference, and it's not called. That's bad. So my whole point here is that I love, number one, I love 12 personnel. I'm sure that y'all can understand that by now. But even if you underthrow it, that's pass interference. So that should have been a very positive play for us. And if we keep on doing this, at some point the refs are going to have to call this PI. They didn't call it right here, but we will see that coming up in this next game. But that is how I want things operating because it's very easy and it's going to give us a whole lot more explosive plays. Next game is Mississippi State, where Tennessee went 2 of 7 on pass plays of 20 yards or more. So on the first one, got things spread out in quads. Now, looks like Mississippi State's playing this a little bit differently because this doesn't look like this is straight up man. It's kind of hard to tell exactly what this coverage is. Either way, I think that they might have been confused because Squirrel White's going to be wide open. Okay, he's going to come wide open down the field. So I love it if we can, execute things well. Of course, we have to pick up that blitz. Got a guy wide open. Squirrel, please stay on your feet. But that's an easy 6 points. Next play is still 11 personnel, but Gaston is in at quarterback. Y'all see we're splitting things out in quads, but it's not that man-to-man because no one's lined up right here that we've been seeing in some of the other games. We talked about this on the previous play with Mississippi State. They're running some sort of a weird match zone or something, whatever. But up at the top, it's just going to be a fade. Okay, we're going to win off of the line of scrimmage. Going to be wide open down the field. I love that this is going to be easy for us. And this is going to be underthrown, right? It's underthrown. And this could have been a win because, hey, this is pass interference. They had to interfere with us to stop us from making this catch. So maybe, I talked about us only having 2 wins out of 7 plays down the field, but really we probably had about 4 wins because the PIs to me should count as wins. But that's very well executed by our offense. Now let's look at the 12 personnel. What do y'all think is happening here? Okay, we already know. We've seen it a million times. It's 1-on-1 on the outside, and we're going deep. And it's going to be very easy to operate like this because everything is simplified significantly. Just throw it up for grabs. Got beat by about 10 yards. Underthrow it. Hey, that's fine, right? Underthrow it. It does not matter. The throws don't have to be perfect in 12 personnel. All right, last play for Mississippi State. This is 12 personnel, and this is Gaston Moore. We're going to have, it's kind of like a slant and go or, maybe like a post and go. It's kind of deep to be a slant, but either way, right? We've got the one-on-one stuff on the outside that we want, and it is a double move. And it's going to be not really too underthrown, but either way, I actually think that it was maybe perfectly thrown, or it could have been thrown a little bit more up the field. But at the same time, we get the PI call. I would also love to see Brew come down with this catch, even with the pass interference, right? But it's thrown pretty much right in his breadbasket, but that still gets us a first down. Last game that we'll be looking at is versus UGA, where Tennessee went 0 for 2 on deep passes. It is an absolute crime that we didn't try to go down the field more. Because people keep on talking about how Georgia, oh man, they just stopped Tennessee's deep passes. They're doing this, they're doing that. We're going to be getting the exact same looks, y'all. The exact same looks. This is going to be 11 personnel. And yeah, they're going to be playing us off, but this is still one-on-one coverage. And down the field, it is going to be open. So again, very simple. We're just running go balls, okay? Everything's picked up perfectly. Nico's got all daggum night. And it's there. They had to interfere because they could not cover down the field. Again, just like I said about Brew, I want to see our guys come down and make these catches, Chris Brazel, and everybody else. I don't care if you get interfered with. Go up and make a play on the football. Don't trust the refs to make that call. All right, y'all, this is the last play that we'll be looking at, and this is 11 personnel. We've got 3 receiving threats down to the bottom, and then we've got 1 up top, and it's going to be one-on-one up here. It's going to be one-on-one also with Dante Thornton and this cornerback. So same looks that we've been getting all season long. Georgia's not doing anything special. They bring that stupid little blitz. We pick it up. And look at that. Like, number one, this is pass interference or it's holding or it's something because this cornerback obviously is holding on. Look at this. Boom. He's got his arm in front of Dante Thornton. That's cheating. You cannot do that. Okay. That's pass interference. Now, the throw was just, maybe slightly overthrown, right? It's thrown just a little bit ahead of Dante, like I talked about. We've got Dante getting held up. Okay, so that's part of the reason that it wasn't perfectly thrown. But if you really look, if you really go back and look at this thing from top to bottom. We only threw the football deep on Georgia twice. One of them was a pass interference. The other one, we had the guy beat. Okay. Also could have been pass interference called, and we never went back to it. I don't understand that. Like, if you're winning at 50% down the field, shouldn't you throw the ball down the field more? That's a game that Tennessee absolutely let slip away. All right, y'all. Now let's recap what we just saw inside of the film room. Number one, with 11 personnel, there's some good things, there's some bad things, but you can spread the entire field out to get a very clear picture of what the defense is doing from a coverage perspective to a blitzing perspective. And with those blitzes, they get a lot more exotic whenever you're spreading the entire field out like Tennessee does in that 11 personnel. The blitzes can come from the outside, from the second level, from the third level. And that's more difficult for the guys up front to know who to pick up and to be physically, especially quick enough to get to them if they're coming from the outside. And also with Tennessee's running game out of 11 personnel, there's typically some players that, might look like they're not playing inside of the box. So you would think that the box is lighter. But versus Tennessee, teams are showing players in coverage that come down and run support on the snap of the football. Again, it's a lot more difficult for the guys up front to pick those players up. But we also have the slot, whenever we're playing 11 personnel, which is good because number one, we got to keep those guys happy. But number two, man, we can run a lot of different route combinations. And really, the route combinations have to almost be a little bit different with 11 personnel for people to get open because teams are playing a lot more coverage and the coverages are deeper coverages. So even when Tennessee can get an isolated one-on-one matchup, it's not a true one-on-one matchup. It's a deep one-on-one matchup from the defense's perspective. So it makes it, again, obviously more difficult for us to throw the football deep. Can we still do it? Of course we can, because we got dogs out there that need to start playing more like dogs, but they are, right? And once they do it, we can still find success down the field with 11 personnel. Now let's talk about 12 personnel because, yeah, the box will probably be more loaded, especially if we're bunching it up. But because the box is more loaded, Tennessee can take advantage of the easy one-on-ones on the outside, right? And it's a true one-on-one, which is huge. And we've seen that the route combinations do not have to be as exotic, okay, out of that 12 personnel as it does inside of the 11 personnel for us to get open deep. All they're doing is running vertically deep, and it's there. Or it's some sort of a double move, right? Like a stop and go. There's no one behind those cornerbacks to help them out. That should be a much easier pass for Nico. Should be a very easy catch because you just throw it up for grabs for those big 6'5" wide receivers. But also, talking about Tennessee's running game within 12 personnel, we've averaged running the football like 3.5 yards per carry out of 12 personnel. So it's not like teams are really, really stopping it. 3.5 times 3 is 10. That means that we could just run the football 3 times in a row and get a first down. That's why teams, again, are stacking the box and making sure that, hey, look, we'd rather slow down this run and take the chance that they can't hit these deep one-on-one shots than, anything else. But even with those deep one-on-one shots, it's either going to be caught, pass interference, or incomplete. But most of the time, right, like the odds at two out of three is going in Tennessee's favor. That's huge. And I guess you could say that for anything. But because there's so much more separation with Tennessee out of that 12 personnel, that's why I just love it. And then Tennessee can still flex those tight ends out. Okay, we can run the tempo, we can slow things down, we can run at our own pace and get all the same looks that we pretty much would be getting out of the 11 personnel. So I love that 100%. That's what I want to see more of from Tennessee moving forward. But those are my thoughts. Please share yours with me down in the comment section. Thank y'all for sticking all the way to the end. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. We'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks. Peace.